I didn't feel like I was working opposite myself, and I felt like I was working opposite of the amazing actress that they cast to basically be in that moment with me and not be on screen. The question makes total sense, and it's because you see the end product, right? But I worked with Amelia, this actress who auditioned to play opposite me, who knew she wasn't going to be on screen. And she worked her ass off to learn those lines and be present for me in a way that just completely allowed me to be at ease and play the shifter in a way that, like, is only allowed by being in your comfort zone. But because I am playing the shifter and Annie simultaneously, Annie is looking at herself, but she's also not. I mean, she's confronting weird things, but this is also in the very moment where, like, the shifter is sort of verbally, or not sort of, blatantly verbally abusing her. She's seeing herself via this weird mirror physical image of herself, but she's aware that that is the shifter, right? It really is an intrinsically motivated moment when she has these epiphanies about her own identity. And then in terms of the shifter is looking at a different human, right? She's looking at a different human in the sense that she's gone from one human to another. So I was looking at Amelia, and that was very healthy. I wouldn't have wanted to actually look at myself in that moment because it would have made me just abundantly aware and self conscious in a way that I'm not immune to, that I'm just talking to myself, right, to Annie. So I liked that Amelia was there, and that I didn't have any. It made it constantly available to me to remind myself that this is not me. I'm not Annie. I'm the shifter. So it didn't feel like I was in a scene with myself. I just had to get over the fact that one day I would see it as two of me, and that was insane.
I'm so glad that it happened this season, because I think any sooner it would have been, I don't think it would have felt like we've earned it. And we've sort of built the two characters up to that point, and her voice coming in that last moment, for the season, it was so special getting to do that. And I was actually pretty nervous, because I had to find the voice. And I also wanted to be technically correct in terms of, like, okay, well, someone that suffers from mutism, what is it, how does it show up? The first time they speak, it's hoarse. Is it going to be full voice, or is it going to be, like little breaths of air? And then we landed on that with the Kripke directing us, and it felt very special on the day, but it definitely weird the first take.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must have been.
It turned out so well.
I got mic'd up for the first time.
Oh my god!
You're like,
wow.
Would you like to be mic'd up? I was
She
like,
never wears a sound
my
pack.
god!
I know.
Oh my
It was
god!
fantastic.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a
Symbolic.
special,
Wow.
experience, and I don't know. I can't wait for people to
moment.
see that
Brilliant.
scene. And
Jesus.
yeah, I think people like.
She didn't anticipate this partnership continuing with Homelander, and she even says that in the beginning. She was like, whatever agreement we have is done. And Homelander, in true Homelander fashion, is like, no, it's done when I say it's done, and I'm Homelander.
And you're like, shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
darn it.
That's like basically the conversation.
After the scene happens, you like go back and you're like,
Shit. So yeah, to begin with, she's not in that position. But I will say the person that I think she's trusted very few people in her life, and I think we get introduced to one of those this season, in episode 5. But the other one is Huey, and Huey and her have always had to her, it's been like one of the most real, authentic friendships and relationships she's had. And so at the end, she kind of feels like that's where she's kind of drowning in it all, and everything's gone to shit, and it's all essentially of her own doing. Huey is this like light at the end of the tunnel, or the only light that she can see, and she's betrayed him, and it's just so sad, and it's so heartbreaking, but like she still has this person that's so true in her life, and so real, and so I don't know, like the heart is like all of that is real
Never
for
had
her,
that.
and she's never had that before, and so I think that's like this really like
Heartbreaking.
heartbreaking but beautiful little piece that she can hold on to.
Do you know what sucks? It feels like they're all going through the repercussions of shit that
Of their
people
actions.
also of shit that people have done to them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you were raised by Stan Edgar,
Yeah.
and you have been in this
Yeah.
position, like
Of
you have
survival.
been of survival.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be self accountability, but also to a certain degree, these I'm not making them victims. I'm
No.
saying like all of these women are going through hardships in a very real way because
Yeah.
of the shit that these fucking men have done.
Yeah,
And
but also in that journey of like, you know, healing and facing
Yeah.
your trauma, there's
there has to be self accountability.
There has to be a point of that.
It's not just
Yeah.
yeah, you have control.
And so it's finally this season. She's like, I'm out from under the thumb of Stan Edgar, and like
Yeah.
he was the problem, and I'm off on my own.
Yeah.
And, like, it's still shit.
And it just so happens circumstantially on our show, it's the
Yeah.
men that have enacted those things. But in real life, it's just society, I feel like.
Anyway, did I answer the question? I
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yes, you did. You did. You very much answered the
Yeah, you
question.
did. It was great. It was great.
I was like, here's my thesis.
You did.